At this point, I'm putting him on possibly a better race, maybe a hand like 8-7. Um, straight draws as well, 6-5. I would say that's probably less likely though because he's leading into two other people. So I think the likelihood of him bluffing here has gone down significantly. Um, but then at the same time, we've hit top pair here with a back draw, flush draw, straight draw. So it's a bit too soon to fold. Um, so I do go ahead and peel one off for the turn. And the turn comes the Jack of Diamonds. Now, if he was barreling with something like 9-10, obviously he's got there. It's not the best card in the world for us. I mean, there weren't really any cards that could have improved the hand. Maybe a six or a club would have done that job. But if he decides to bet again, you've got to think to yourself like, what are you being here now at this point? So he decides to bet just under half pot here, um, and you could call here for sure. You're sort of bluff catching at this point. Uh, you could call and then hope he checks on the river, and you would have some showdown value there. Um, I didn't feel it at this point in time. I didn't think I was good. So I decided to get rid of the hand and move on to the next one and conserve my chips for the future. So good old four deuce here. Now we are below 30 big blinds. Not the best place to be in an early stage of a tournament. But I've been in this situation quite a few times now. You just don't give up when you've got this sort of a chip stack. It looks like your chips are going down and down from the beginning of your 3K stack, and um, the key is just to play your stack that you've got at that time to the best of your ability, and hopefully things work out for you. So never give up, really. You've got ace 7 offsuit here. Uh, Under the gun +2 decides to open, get a flat from in behind. I wouldn't flat here ever. Um, Later in a tournament, I might decide to squeeze 3-bet here, like thinking they're quite weak, considering our stack size, though, at this point being below 30 big blinds, and the fact that our hand plays pretty poorly post flop. It's a pretty easy fold. So move on to the next hand. Ace deuce. Again, we're below 30 big blinds. It's a hand that plays pretty poorly post flop. The blinds aren't big enough to really steal. Our stack size isn't the best here, and so I just decided to fold. Same thing with the ace 5, the very next hand. Ace 5 of diamonds in the big blind. Quite a pretty hand. Knighted flush draw. If you were to hit 2 diamonds on the flop. This guy here decides to open to 240. Remember, this is the same guy that led into us on the ace 8-7 board. He seems to be pretty aggro, plays a bit unorthodox. So he decides to open up here under the gun +2. Uh, because our stack is getting a bit shallow here, I don't like defending here, in all honesty. Um, Multi-way possibly, but because it's just folded around to me, and because we're getting a bit shallow, I would elect to fold here. We've got a weak ace. You more often than not you will get into trouble defending here. Um, yes, if we were deeper, then it's a very good hand to defend with, potentially 3-bet as well. But I just like to give it up and move on to the next hand. Pocket jacks. our first real hand so far of the tournament. We've got just over 25 big blinds. It's folded down to me. I elect to min raise, which is fine. Normally at this blind level, I do 2.5x to 200, but because our chips are a bit shallow, our chip stack, I elected to min raise and just trying to induce some action behind. Didn't really want to scare anyone off. But the key thing is to later on in the tournaments obviously have the same raise size, so people don't get reads off what you're opening and your opening bet sizing and your raise sizing and things like that. So we do unfortunately get folds behind us, which is fine. Still just below 30 bigs. A6 offsuit. Again, a middle position raise. This hand, pretty poor hand to be defending with in this situation. So I guess I just do go ahead and fold. Yeah, I do. And now we're down to 20 bigs, just over 20 bigs, 50, 100 blind level. So now we're really looking for spots to kind of re-steal, shove 20 big blinds over an open, and try and pick up some much needed chips. We're not really looking to flat anything at this point with our chip stack. As I said, just trying to get it in and get a double up. So we've got a6 offsuit here. It's been folded to us in the button. Two people to beat behind us. One with a 23 big blind stack, one with 40 plus. There are arguments for everything except folding here, really. You could raise. There's no problem with that. Just kind of min raise or 2.2 or whatever your standard is at this point. But at that, you do risk potentially this guy reshoving over you, and then you're faced with a situation, whether you want to call off with a6 offsuit, which a hand which could be dominated a lot of the time. And same thing with Gus Hansen, he could easily just shove it down our throat if we just do that. By shoving here, I think the advantages are that it's unexploitable. They really have to wake up with a hand for them to actually call you off here. So if you shove here with ace-6, they can't really call off with hands like I don't know, ace-5, ace-4, sort of a king-queen type of hand. They could well do. Obviously, there's nothing is certain in poker, but the likelihood of them doing that obviously decreases if you just shove it in their face. And as I said, I'm a member of Tournament Poker Edge, and I know one of the lead instructors, Big Dog Pocket Fives, who some of you may know from Poker Stars, very, very good online player, millions of dollars in earnings. I've seen in his videos, this is the sort of spot where he likes to shove it in. And I think I do like the fact that you shoving in here, it's unexploitable, and you just pick up the blinds and antes here. But as I said, I don't mind raising either, but if I had to pick one, it would definitely be shoving all in, which is what I do, and pick up the blinds and antes. So just up to 23 bigs now. Not a massive chip gain there, but everything counts at this point. Any chips to our stack is important. Ace Jack suited here of spades. It folds to us. I decide to min raise, which is fine. We are in late position, mid to late position. We have a 23 big blind stack behind us. He could easily shove it down our throat. And he decides to flat, which is quite weird and interesting. His stack is not something. Is not one where you want to be looking to flat. As I said, with my stack size, I'm not really looking to flat things here. I'm looking to either shove or fold, or look for good spots to open. So, he should either be shoving or folding. His range is pretty much his entire range here. He decided elects the flat though, which is, in my opinion, not the best move. Um, anyway, the big blind decides to complete here on 42 big blinds. Flop comes 7-4 deuce, two clubs. Um, Something you'll see in my videos is that I don't really like to bluff into two people in a multi-way pot when I don't have anything. Certain situations, yes, I will do it, but I have to feel that situation is correct for me to almost semi bluff or bluff in that spot. This is one of those which I don't think is a very good situation to be uh, c betting here, trying to take the pot down, because you've got one guy behind who's shown that he's going to be flatting 23 big blind stacks. So on this sort of flop, unless he's flatting something like ace queen or even ace jack as well, like us or ace 10, I don't think he's going to be folding very many hands here. All of his pocket pairs, if he was scared of shoving and he decided to flat, he's going to flat them here as well for sure. So I think it's a waste of a c bet. And we are quite shallow as well, so it's just not the good spot, I think, to be c betting here. It checks around to the turn. Flushes get there now, straights get there. Five of clubs is not exactly a brick. The big blind decides to lead out of 300 chips. We can safely fold here. We've got no real interest in this hand. We've got a wheel draw, but it's probably not even good here at this stage. The guy on 21 bigs now decides to flat again, maybe chasing an ace-high flush draw or some sort of straight draw. River's the king of hearts. Guy decides to bet the same amount again, so it seems a bit of a blockish bet. Interesting to see if this guy raised what he would do in this spot. But he decides to fold, and the big blind takes the pot. So, still looking for that spot here. We get pocket sixes in the big blind. 20 big blinds, just over. Our friend here again, Larson, decides to raise. If you notice, this time he's min-raised, as opposed to before he was 3xing. Maybe this is something he does when the blinds got up to this level. I don't really know, because we haven't played with this guy enough. It's not a large enough sample to actually make that sort of firm judgment to say that's exactly what he does. He decides to min raise, get a flat on the guy on his immediate left, and wow, here comes a shove to that guy's left. So pocket six is obviously an easy fold now. We're not probably doing very well against Can't Stop Me now, probably flipping at best, and either one of these two could wake up with a hand. So it's just an easy fold for us. It would have been interesting if it folded round to us, what we'd have done. I don't really like flatting here because of our stack size. It's a good spot to definitely squeeze and take it away from them. The only drawback is, they are kind of early-ish position. I think shoving there is fine though. I don't mind that at all. Folding, I personally would fold there just because, we are. I mean, this guy, has been pretty aggressive. This Larson guy. So yeah, probably I would probably take the shove, but almost reluctantly. But just if their positions a bit further across the table, then yeah, I don't have a problem. Just because they're opening a bit earlier position, he's less than 30. And this guy decides to flat. He could easily be flying a better pair than me. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think folding is terrible there, and I don't think shoving is terrible there. But I just personally wouldn't flat there. So anyway, we didn't have to make that decision. So, and it got through the squeeze. So maybe our shove would have worked for what it's worth. So we are now starting to reach the territory below 20 bigs.